what do you do when you lost your way? Well, perhaps you would just ask someone and tell that person to show you where to go. But what happens if there is no one? Well, we have all the technology at hand. So you would just open your navigation from your cell phone and then find your way. But what happens if you are lost in a falling plane? So, this is what I'm going to propose you. I'm going to propose a solution for that. And I will try to sell you this plane survival kit. Some may argue that this is a familiar document. So you recognize this? Well, you might be mistaken because this is not an ordinary manual. It's a survival kit. It's a slightly modified version of a typical document you will find on the plane. So what is the difference? This tells you what to do to survive in the plane. Well, you may say that, well, since I am selling this, you will say that, why should I pay money for this? Because the staff on the plane will tell me what to do before the crash or during or after the crash. Or you would think that, what a stupid idea. These documents are delivered for free for each passenger and I will just find it in front of the seat pocket. So what is different about that? Well, I think you are fooling yourself. Come on. When you look at many of these regular documents, it will tell you that if it is going to crash, just lean forward and put your head between your knees. So, who has that kind of leg space between the rows of seats? Can you imagine yourself doing this pose in the plane? So, how come you can really depend your life on the information on this page? Or you may think that the crew members will tell you what to do. So I will remind you about all these low-cost airlines. So these airlines has started a huge war of price between the airlines. So what's really happening is that they are sacrificing on the maintenance of the planes and they are sacrificing on the education and training of their staff. So it's a very optimistic decision, optimistic idea to think that someone will really tell you what to do in the right moments. So this is the importance of the survival kit I'm selling to you. So what is in here? First thing, that before going onto the plane, this manual, it tells you about how to buy a ticket. So this, if you look at here, it tells you that when you are going to buy a ticket online, go to your browser and select the incognito tab. Because if you don't do it, the website will remember that you've been to that website and it's going to increase the price because you didn't buy the ticket at the first time. So they are going to increase every time you go into the website. So open up an incognito page and make sure that you are always presented the cheapest price. Okay, let's assume that you bought your ticket and you are going to reserve a seat. What is the most advantageous seat? Perhaps because of the leg space, it is the exit row. But when you go into the online check-in, it's not going to give you the exit rows, the emergency seats. I know some people, because the check-in opens 24 hours before the flight, but again, you can get the online check-in, but you cannot get these exit rows. So our survival kit tells you that to go 24 hours before, directly to the airport, and from the airport you can get your boarding ticket with any kind of seat you prefer. So, what a lovely tip for you, so you can enjoy your long distance travel with a lot of room space. And the other thing that's important for the exit row is that after a crash, the authorities say that there is a golden time. So it's 90 seconds. That's going to improve your survival chances if you can leave the plane in 90 seconds. So if you sit on the exit rows, well, 90 seconds, you will have time to leave the airplane. And another thing is that if you can't get these exit rows, I suggest that, actually the manual suggests you to pick the aisle seat. Depending on the nationality, you know that in some countries the obesity is a huge issue. And you are sitting on the window side or in the middle seat, and on the aisle side there is an obese person. So do you really think that that person can evacuate the plane before you comfortably so that you can leave the plane? Well, rather than depending on the chances, I suggest that you get the aisle seat. And another advice this manual gives you is that you get the aisle seat so that you get direct access to the aisle. But if you think that the row is empty, there are not more passengers, just move aside to the middle seat and keep the aisle seats empty. It's because that during the crash, it's a high probability that, as it is shown here, the overhead bins will open because of all these movements, and the baggages will fall on the aisle seats. And this will save you from having some brain damage before the crash. And so the manual tells you what to do when a warning is issued. What you could do is that have some water. Do not finish all your water that is delivered during the flight. Keep some water and carry a napkin. Because this is important that when during the crash there may be smoke, toxic smoke. So you would put that water on the napkin and cover your face and save yourself from the toxic gases. Or you should put your glasses in your pocket, because during the crash everything is going to move all around. So your glasses would fly away and you will have a hard time to find your way. So once everything is settled, you will take out your glasses and you will have a bright view of where to go. And the other thing you could do is that, as I told you, that you cannot really employ the position which is told in the regular manuals. But in our survival kit, it is advised you to gather your feet under yourself and have a position where you would have your feet on the seat, and then you would just rest your head on your knees. So this is a much better position to take for the crash. And another advice you will read here is that before the crash, do not forget to do this. Take your thumb. Why is that? It's not to pacify you like a baby. But if everything goes bad, at least you have one fingerprint intact to recognize your body. Or you will have your teeth intact for the recognition. So this is another advice for the worst case. And also before the crash, make sure that you counted how many rows you have until the exit row. It's because that when all the hell breaks loose, it's going to be smoky, it's going to be very positive, negative situation. So you need to maybe count the seat and try to find the exit. And another tip that this manual gives you is that do not only count the rows to the exit in front of you, but also count how many rows you have for the back exit. Because for some reasons, the front exit might be blocked, so you would need to navigate your way to the back exit. And another thing is that they all tell you in the regular manuals to put the life vest on. But they also tell you how to inflate it automatically or manually, but they don't tell you not to inflate in the plane. But our survival kit, as shown here, tells you that. Because the majority of the casualties are because that people inflated the vest inside the plane and suddenly they get more size and they are stuck in the corridors, or the water rushes in and you have a vest with full of air, the water will push you back. And majority of the casualties is because of that. Do not inflate the vest as shown in here in the plane, outside the plane. So let's go on. That we go to what happens when you are exiting the plane. As you can see here, it tells you do not take any belonging with you. Okay, your laptop, your favorite book, or your favorite clothes, just leave it there. If you survive, you can always come back and claim those. So do not waste time to pick up your stuff. Or what you should do is that do not take a video of the situation. Okay? It's cool to upload that video to Instagram if you survive. But it's not so cool if someone else's uploads it after you die because of this. So make sure you don't take any videos during your escape. And once you are outside of the plane, make sure that you get far from the plane so that it's not explode or something like that. But also make sure that you don't go far so that the rescue teams will not find you, as it is shown here. So, actually air travel can be one of the greatest cathartic experiences in your life. So experience the joy of visiting new destinations and meeting people from all cultures. So your life will be richly rewarded for it. So I would say that do not hesitate and take on the flights, even though this survival kit tells you the other way. Thank you.